Captain Aaron had never expected his mission to take him to the distant, untamed world of Violia. The planet shimmered under the light of a greenish sun, its forests dense with towering, twisting trees, and the air was thick with the scent of unfamiliar flora. The human exploration team had been studying the alien species for several weeks, cautiously navigating the strange landscape and observing the native life forms. Aaron had grown used to the quiet dangers, sudden storms, aggressive creatures, and the subtle, watchful eyes of the Virelians themselves, the intelligent inhabitants of the planet. The Virelians were unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. Tall and slender, their skin shimmered with faint metallic hues, and their large, expressive eyes seemed to see deeper than mere appearances. Their language was complex, full of musical tones and rapid movements that Aaron's team could barely understand. Despite the barriers, Aaron had grown fascinated by their culture, their rituals, and their extraordinary intelligence. But fascination did not make him immune to danger. One day, while exploring a clearing near a river of liquid silver, Aaron noticed a small figure lying on the ground. At first, he thought it was an injured animal, but as he drew closer, his heart sank. It was a Virelian child, pale and trembling, with shallow, irregular breaths. The little one's luminous eyes flickered weakly, and Aaron recognized the signs of a serious biological crisis. He had studied Virelian physiology just enough to know that, without immediate help, the child would not survive. The team's medics rushed to the scene, but even they hesitated. The child's species had delicate blood chemistry, and their immune system was unpredictable. Aaron's training in human medicine told him that the situation demanded immediate action. Without thinking twice, he approached the child. "I can try," he said firmly, drawing a small vial of his own blood. He had been tested extensively before leaving Earth, and his blood type was compatible with certain alien species in emergency cases. Myra, the child's mother, appeared suddenly, her long, metallic-tinted hair flowing like liquid silver behind her. She froze at the edge of the clearing, watching her child struggle. Fear and panic radiated from her, but her eyes also held a glimmer of hope when she saw Aaron kneel beside her little one. She spoke rapidly in Virelian, her tones urgent and trembling. Though Aaron could not understand her words fully, he understood the meaning through her gestures and the intense expression on her face. He opened a sterile injector and slowly began transfusing his blood into the child. The child's body shivered violently, and Aaron could see that the process was delicate. One wrong move, and it could kill the child or worse, trigger a dangerous reaction. Sweat formed on Aaron's brow as he focused intently, ignoring the chaos of the alien forest around him. The silver river reflected the sunlight in blinding streaks, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. Minutes felt like hours. The child's breaths grew steadier, and the weak flicker in their eyes began to shine brighter. Aaron's heart raced with hope and anxiety. Myra stepped closer, her hand hovering near the child but not touching. Her eyes never left Aaron, filled with an intensity he had never seen before. Then slowly, the child opened their eyes fully and let out a small, relieved whimper. Aaron exhaled deeply, his relief almost as intense as the mother's. Myra's expression softened, and she made a series of low, melodic sounds that Aaron took as words of gratitude. She touched the child's hand lightly, her fingers trembling. The bond of life had been restored, and Aaron felt an unfamiliar warmth inside him, a deep connection to these alien beings who had relied on his humanity to survive. The team gathered around, expressions a mix of awe and disbelief. "I've never seen anything like this," muttered Dr. Lin, the lead medic. "His blood, it saved the child." Aaron nodded quietly, still focused on the little Virelian who now clung weakly to life. He realized, for the first time, the true weight of being human in this vast, alien universe. Myra looked at Aaron again, and this time her gaze held something more than gratitude. There was respect, admiration, and a profound recognition of what humans were capable of. Aaron could feel it, though he did not yet understand the depths of her emotions. She spoke again, slowly this time, as if measuring each word carefully. Though the words were foreign, her tone carried a meaning unmistakable. Aaron had done something extraordinary, something that marked him as special in the eyes of her people. Days passed, and Aaron's team continued their studies, but the incident had left a mark on everyone. The child, named Lyra by her mother, recovered quickly under the careful watch of both human and Virelian caretakers. Aaron visited her often, bringing small gifts and learning more about her world. Lyra's laughter was bright and musical, a sound that resonated even through the strange, metallic forests of Violia. Myra, ever watchful, began to trust humans in ways her species had not before. She observed Aaron closely, noting his courage, his selflessness, and his intelligence. Rumors began to spread among the Violians. Stories of the human who had given his blood to save a child circulated quickly, and many came to see Aaron as a figure of exceptional importance. Some believed that his actions had created a bond between humans and Violians that was deeper than any natural connection. Myra, the mother, grew more insistent. She approached Aaron with a request, carefully phrased according to her culture, asking him to remain involved with her people. She used a word that, when translated loosely, meant to breed, but in the Violian sense, it carried the idea of sharing knowledge, nurturing life, and ensuring the survival of the next generation. Aaron paused, understanding the cultural misunderstanding. He knew immediately that the term did not carry the meaning it might in human society, but he also realized the importance of his role. By helping Myra and her people, he could ensure that Lyra and others like her would thrive. Aaron nodded slowly, accepting the responsibility. He would teach them, guide them, and use his human ingenuity to protect lives. This, he realized, was the true meaning of heroism, not glory, not recognition, but the willingness to act for the sake of others. The team set up a temporary base near the Violian settlement. Aaron spent hours observing, learning, and teaching. He showed them simple techniques for harvesting the local flora, ways to predict weather patterns using the planet's peculiar signals, and strategies to protect themselves from natural predators. The Violians absorbed every lesson eagerly, their large eyes filled with curiosity and respect. Aaron noticed how quickly they adapted to his methods, improving them in ways he had never anticipated. Their intelligence was formidable, and yet their appreciation for human effort was even stronger. Myra remained close to Aaron, often sitting quietly as he worked with the other Violians. She observed his every action, learning silently, but also ensuring that her child, Lyra, was safe and happy. Slowly, a bond formed between human and alien. It was not friendship in the simple sense, nor was it a formal alliance. It was something more profound, a connection forged by compassion, courage, and the shared experience of survival. One evening, as the greenish sun dipped below the horizon and the forest glowed with bioluminescent light, Myra spoke again. This time her words were clearer, though still in Violian. Through gestures and tone, Aaron understood the essence. She wanted him to stay, to continue helping, and to ensure the future of her child and her people. It was a heavy responsibility, but Aaron felt no hesitation. He had acted without thinking to save Lyra, and now he would act again with thought and purpose to protect many more. The night air was cool, and the sounds of alien creatures echoed through the forest. Aaron looked at Lyra, sleeping peacefully in her mother's arms, and felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He had crossed a vast gulf of species and culture and had found a way to touch lives. In the human tradition, he might have called it bravery. In the Violian understanding, it was something sacred, a bond between life-givers and life-savers. As the stars emerged above the strange alien sky, Aaron realized something important. Humanity's greatest power was not technology, nor weapons, nor even strength. It was compassion. It was courage. It was the willingness to step forward when others falter, to act for the sake of life itself. And on Virlia, he had found a place where that power was not only recognized but revered. The days that followed would bring new challenges. Aaron knew that the survival of the Virlians depended not just on his knowledge, but on the collaboration between human and alien. Conflicts would arise, misunderstandings would challenge him, and the stakes would grow ever higher. But he also knew that he had the strength, the ingenuity, and the heart to face whatever came next. After all, he had given life once, and in doing so had discovered what it truly meant to be human in a galaxy that often seemed indifferent to life itself. And so, Aaron prepared for the next steps of his journey, unaware that his act of courage had already set into motion events that would change the future of Virlia forever. He had saved a child, but in doing so he had become a symbol, a teacher, and a protector. The Virlian mother had asked much, but in return he would witness the best of both human and alien potential, an extraordinary story of trust, bravery, and the bonds that transcend species. Aaron awoke to the soft hum of the alien forest. The light of Virlia's greenish sun filtered through the tall, metallic trees, casting shimmering patterns on the ground. Lyra, the child he had saved, was already awake, sitting beside Myra, her mother, who was watching the horizon with a mixture of concern and determination. Aaron stretched and rubbed the sleep from his eyes, realizing that life on Virlia had changed for him completely. He was no longer a mere explorer. He was a teacher, a guide, and a protector. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of strange flowers and the faint metallic tang of the river that wound through the settlement. Aaron had begun to understand more about the Virlians' way of life. Their society was structured around knowledge, survival, and respect for life. Every member had a role, and the well-being of the young was considered sacred. When he had saved Lyra, he had not only preserved a life but had also earned the trust of an entire culture. Myra approached him as he prepared to join the other Virlians in their morning routines. "Aaron," she said, her voice soft but commanding in the melodic tones of her language. Though he could not fully understand her words, the meaning was clear through her gestures. She wanted him to help train the community, to pass on the knowledge and skills humans possessed, so that her people could face the challenges that lay ahead. Aaron nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility. The first task was simple but essential. The Virlians had always relied on instinct and their advanced intelligence to survive, but the recent storms and natural disasters had shown vulnerabilities in their methods. Aaron began by teaching them basic strategies for resource management. He showed them how to identify edible plants, store food safely, and predict weather patterns using subtle signs in the environment. The Virlians were quick learners, absorbing every detail with intense focus. Aaron was impressed by their capacity for understanding and adaptation. Lyra watched eagerly as her father and Aaron worked together. She asked questions in her musical language, and though Aaron could not respond in words, he communicated through gestures and demonstrations. Myra smiled at the exchange, her trust in Aaron growing with each passing day. She had never encountered a human with such patience, ingenuity, and genuine care for her child. As the days turned into weeks, Aaron faced new challenges. Some Virlians were skeptical of his methods. They respected humans but were wary of relying too heavily on alien-born techniques. A group of elders, led by a stern Virlian named Talek, questioned Aaron's influence. "Why should we follow human ways?" Talek asked during a council meeting. His voice was calm but carried the weight of authority. "Our ancestors have survived for centuries without them." Aaron understood the challenge. He did not seek to replace their traditions, but to show how human ingenuity could complement Virlian wisdom. He demonstrated how combining human strategies with their natural abilities could improve survival without undermining their culture. Slowly, even Talek began to see the value of collaboration. One day, a sudden storm swept through the settlement. The wind tore through the metallic trees, and lightning illuminated the darkening sky. Aaron sprang into action, guiding the Violins to secure their homes and protect the young. Lyra clung to his side, her small hands gripping his arm as he led them to a safe shelter. Myra followed closely, issuing instructions to the other adults. The storm raged for hours, and Aaron's leadership proved crucial. The Violins had the knowledge, but his guidance ensured that the lessons they had learned were applied effectively. After the storm passed, the community gathered to assess the damage. Homes were battered and some food supplies were lost, but no lives were harmed. The elders approached Aaron, their expressions a mix of respect and gratitude. Talek, who had been most skeptical, nodded solemnly. "You have taught us much," he said. "Your ways, combined with ours, have saved lives today." Aaron felt a surge of pride, not for himself, but for what humans and Violins could achieve together. Over the following weeks, Aaron's role expanded. He began teaching more complex survival strategies, including construction techniques for durable shelters, methods to purify water, and ways to communicate over long distances using basic signal devices. The Violins were fascinated by the simplicity and effectiveness of human methods. They adapted each lesson to their environment, improving upon it in ways Aaron had not anticipated. The collaboration became a true exchange of knowledge, blending human practicality with Violin intelligence. Myra watched these developments closely. She saw how Aaron had earned the respect of her people, how he had bridged the gap between species, and how Lyra was thriving under his influence. Myra's admiration for him deepened, though she remained cautious in her expressions. Trust, after all, had to be earned over time, and she valued the bond between her child and the human who had saved her life. Conflict arose when a neighboring Violin tribe arrived unexpectedly. They had heard rumors of a human working with Myra's people and came with suspicion. Their leader, a tall and imposing figure named Carol, demanded to know Aaron's purpose. "Why is a human here?" Carol asked. "What threat do you bring to our children?" Aaron stepped forward calmly. He spoke in measured tones, using gestures and simple Violin phrases he had learned. He explained that he sought only to help, to ensure the survival of all children, including those of neighboring tribes. Myra stood by his side, supporting his words, and Lyra reached out to him, demonstrating trust and acceptance. Slowly, the tension eased. Carol's expression softened, though caution remained in his eyes. Aaron realized that leadership was not just about teaching skills, but also about building trust across cultural divides. Every action, every decision could strengthen or weaken the fragile bonds between species. He learned to be patient, to listen, and to adapt. His humanity, courage, empathy, and reason became his most powerful tool. As the weeks passed, Aaron continued to teach and guide. He introduced basic farming techniques, showing how to cultivate alien plants efficiently and sustainably. He explained the importance of rotation and soil management, concepts foreign to the Violins but quickly understood through demonstration. Their natural intelligence allowed them to grasp complex ideas quickly, and soon their settlements flourished. Lyra became his most eager student, absorbing every lesson with joy and curiosity. She asked endless questions and experimented with ideas, often surprising Aaron with her creativity. Myra watched proudly, recognizing that her child was not only alive but thriving, learning the best of human and Violin knowledge. One afternoon, as Aaron taught the Violins to build a simple irrigation system, a new challenge emerged. A group of predators, large and agile creatures native to the forest, began approaching the settlement. The Violins had their defenses, But Aaron realized that combining human ingenuity with Virelian skills could prevent disaster. He quickly devised a strategy, using barriers, noise signals, and coordinated movements to deter the predators without harming them. The Virelians followed his instructions, and together, they successfully protected the settlement. Afterward, Myra approached Aaron quietly. Her eyes reflected relief and gratitude. Though her words were still in her native language, Aaron understood the meaning. She recognized him as more than a teacher or ally. He had become a vital part of their community, a symbol of hope and cooperation. He nodded in acknowledgement, humbled by the responsibility and trust placed upon him. Aaron spent the evenings with Myra and Lyra, learning more about Virelian culture and their understanding of the universe. They shared stories of their ancestors, their beliefs, and their hopes for the future. Aaron shared human tales in return, describing Earth, its landscapes, and the lessons humanity had learned through struggle and triumph. Though their worlds were vastly different, the themes of courage, compassion, and survival resonated deeply. As he lay beneath the alien stars, Aaron reflected on his journey. He had come to Virelia as an explorer, curious about an unknown world. Now he was a protector, a teacher, and a bridge between species. He realized that true heroism was not measured by battles won or discoveries made, but by the lives one touched and the bonds one forged. Aaron's days became a rhythm of teaching, learning, and guiding. He saw Lyra grow stronger and more confident, Myra's trust deepen, and the Virelian community begin to thrive. Yet he knew that greater challenges lay ahead. The planet was vast and unpredictable, and survival depended on continued collaboration, ingenuity, and courage. One evening, as the green sun set, Myra spoke again. This time, her tone was serious, carrying both respect and expectation. She gestured for Aaron to follow her to a high cliff overlooking the settlement. From this vantage point, he could see the expanse of the forest, the winding river, and the distant mountains. Myra explained, with careful words and gestures, that their survival depended on more than simple skills. They needed leadership, strategy, and a vision for the future. She wanted Aaron to continue guiding them, to ensure that not only Lyra but all their children would thrive. Aaron understood fully. The responsibility was immense, but he accepted it without hesitation. He had learned that human courage and wisdom could make a difference in the universe, even on a world as alien as Virelia. And as he gazed across the shimmering forest, he felt a deep connection to this place, its people, and the life he had vowed to protect. The storm of challenges and cultural misunderstandings had passed, but new tests were on the horizon. Aaron knew that his journey was only beginning. With the trust of Myra and the Virelians and the bond he had formed with Lyra, he was ready to face whatever came next. Humanity's strength was not just in technology or might. It was in compassion, courage, and the willingness to act for the greater good. And on Virelia, that strength was about to be tested in ways he had never imagined. The days on Virelia had grown warmer, the green sun rising higher in the sky, casting a bright glow across the metallic trees. The Virelians had flourished under Aaron's guidance, learning new ways to survive and adapt, blending human methods with their natural abilities. Lyra ran through the settlement, laughing as she practiced new skills, while Myra observed with quiet pride. The bond between human and Virelians had grown strong, but Aaron knew that peace on this planet was fragile. Nature was unpredictable, and Virelia had a way of testing even the most prepared communities. One morning, a strange tremor shook the ground. Trees swayed violently, and a distant rumble echoed through the valley. Aaron felt the vibrations under his boots and immediately knew something was wrong. The team rushed outside, gathering with the Virelians. Myra's eyes widened in fear as she scanned the horizon. The tremors were only the beginning. Reports came quickly from the outlying parts of the settlement. A massive landslide was forming high in the nearby mountains, threatening to sweep through the valley where the Virelian colony had grown. The river, already swollen from recent rains, could rise and flood the settlement. Aaron's heart raced, but he forced himself to think clearly. Panic would not save anyone. He needed a plan and he needed to act fast. He gathered the Virelian elders, including Talek and Carol, explaining what he had observed. Using simple drawings on the ground and gestures, he demonstrated the potential path of the landslide and the areas most at risk. He suggested building barriers, reinforcing shelters, and moving the young and elderly to higher ground. The Virelians listened carefully, following his instructions with precision. Aaron marveled at their ability to grasp complex ideas quickly, applying them with creativity and skill. Myra stayed close, helping coordinate the evacuation and ensuring that Lyra was safe. The child clung to Aaron's hand, her small grip firm with trust. "We have to move quickly," Aaron said, his voice calm but urgent. Together, they led groups of Virelians to safer areas, teaching them how to secure their homes and create temporary shelters that could withstand debris and flooding. As they worked, the first wave of the landslide hit. Rocks and mud cascaded down the mountainside, crashing against trees and sending shockwaves through the ground. The Virelians shouted warnings, guiding one another with a mixture of instinct and the strategies Aaron had taught them. Despite the chaos, no one panicked completely. Aaron's presence gave them confidence, and his instructions kept everyone organized. Hours passed, and the danger was far from over. The river began to rise, threatening to flood the lower settlements. Aaron devised a system of channels to redirect the water, using stones, fallen trees, and reinforced barriers. He worked alongside the Virelians, lifting, digging, and guiding. Myra coordinated the groups, ensuring that every individual was accounted for. The collaboration between human and alien was extraordinary, a perfect blend of ingenuity, strength, and trust. Lyra watched from a safe distance, her eyes wide with fear and excitement. She had learned much from Aaron over the past weeks, and now she saw the lessons in action. She understood the importance of strategy, preparation, and courage. She ran to help where she could, moving supplies and assisting the younger children, following Aaron's earlier instructions. Myra smiled at her daughter's bravery, proud that her child had not only survived but had learned to act with purpose in the face of danger. The night fell, but the crisis was not yet over. The landslide continued to send debris down the mountainside, and the river swelled further. Aaron and the Virelians worked tirelessly, their energy fueled by determination and necessity. Aaron realized that this was the ultimate test of everything they had learned together. The survival of the colony depended on quick thinking, cooperation, and courage. Finally, after what seemed like endless hours, the worst of the landslide passed. The barriers held, the river was partially redirected, and the Virelians' shelters had protected the most vulnerable. Aaron collapsed briefly, exhaustion washing over him, but Myra quickly handed him water and a small, warm meal. Her eyes reflected deep gratitude, though words were not necessary. The child he had saved, Lyra, was safe, and the colony had survived, thanks to the combined efforts of human and alien. The following days were devoted to recovery. Aaron helped repair damaged homes, organize food supplies, and ensure that everyone had access to clean water. The Virelians had proven themselves resilient, and now they were stronger because of the knowledge and strategies Aaron had shared. Talek and Carol approached him, their expressions respectful and sincere. "You have taught us not only skills but the meaning of courage and collaboration," Talek said. "Your presence has changed our people for the better." Aaron felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Virelia as an explorer, but now he understood the true power of humanity. It was not in advanced technology or weapons, but in the ability to act selflessly, to inspire others, and to create bonds that transcended species. Myra approached him, placing a hand on his arm, and spoke softly. This time he understood the meaning perfectly. She was recognizing him as an honorary protector of her people, a lifelong ally and a friend. Lyra ran up, hugging Aaron's leg, her laughter bright and musical. "Thank you," she said in the few human words she had learned. Aaron smiled, ruffling her hair gently. Her innocence and trust were a reminder of why he had acted without hesitation when he had first given his blood. Every life mattered, and the bond they shared now was stronger than any challenge the universe could present. Aaron spent the following weeks helping the Violins rebuild and strengthen their community. He introduced systems to prevent future disasters, including reinforced shelters, emergency communication methods, and early warning techniques. The Violins adapted each idea, improving upon it with their intelligence and creativity. Aaron marveled at their ability to innovate, realizing that humanity's role was not to dominate, but to guide, teach, and inspire. Myra and Aaron spent long hours discussing the future. They talked about ways humans and Violins could continue to work together, sharing knowledge and culture while respecting each other's uniqueness. Myra expressed her desire for ongoing collaboration, not as a demand, but as a partnership built on mutual respect and trust. Aaron agreed, seeing the potential for a lasting alliance that could benefit both species for generations to come. Lyra became a symbol of this partnership. She had survived a near-fatal crisis thanks to Aaron's courage, and she had learned the value of knowledge, preparation, and compassion. The Violins saw her as a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the power of human influence when guided by kindness and intelligence. As the green sun set on Violia, casting long shadows across the forest, Aaron stood beside Myra and Lyra, looking out over the thriving settlement. The crisis had tested their skills, their courage, and their bonds, but they had prevailed. Aaron realized that heroism was not measured by battles fought or enemies defeated, but by the lives saved and the trust earned. He had acted selflessly when faced with danger, and in doing so, had become a symbol of humanity's best qualities. Aaron knew that challenges would come again. Violia was a wild and unpredictable world, full of dangers that could test even the strongest and wisest. But he also knew that the Violins were ready. They had learned, adapted, and grown stronger through cooperation. They had learned that humans were capable of great courage, compassion, and ingenuity, and that together they could overcome almost any obstacle. The bond between Aaron, Lyra, and Myra had become unbreakable. They had shared moments of fear, triumph, and joy, creating a connection that transcended species. Myra recognized that humanity brought something unique to the universe, a combination of selflessness, creativity, and courage that could change the course of lives. Aaron understood that he had found a new purpose, one that went beyond exploration. He was a protector, a teacher, and a friend, and his actions would leave a lasting legacy on this alien world. In the weeks that followed, the settlement flourished. New shelters were built, crops thrived, and the community became stronger and more resilient than ever. Aaron continued to teach and guide, always mindful of the delicate balance between helping and allowing the Violins to grow on their own. His presence was a symbol of hope and cooperation, a reminder that even across the vast distances of space, humanity could make a difference. One evening, as the stars shimmered above the alien forest, Myra approached Aaron once more. She gestured to Lyra, then to him, and spoke in her melodic language. Aaron understood without translation. She was acknowledging the bond he had formed with her child and her people, recognizing him as a true ally and friend. No words could capture the depth of gratitude and respect she felt, but Aaron understood completely. The life he had saved had blossomed, and in doing so, he had forged a new path for humanity among the stars. Aaron looked out over the settlement, feeling a sense of peace he had never known. He had faced fear, acted with courage, and helped an alien people survive against incredible odds. He had discovered the true strength of humanity, not in power or dominance, but in compassion, wisdom, and the willingness to act for others. And on Virlia, that strength had created a bond that would endure for generations, a story of heroism, hope, and the enduring impact of human courage. As the wind rustled through the metallic trees and Lyra's laughter echoed across the forest, Aaron knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had a place among the stars, not just as explorers or conquerors, but as protectors, teachers, and friends. And on this distant world, he had shown that one human's courage and compassion could change the fate of an entire species. Aaron, Myra, and Lyra stood together as the night deepened, the green sun's glow replaced by countless stars. The settlement thrived, the Virelians were safe, and humanity had left its mark not through force, but through selfless action. Aaron's journey on Virelia had begun with a simple act of giving his blood to save a child, and it had grown into something far greater, a legacy of trust, cooperation, and the best qualities of humanity shining across the galaxy.